Hi guys, today I'm back to film my 2015 favorites. At first I wasn't going to do this because I was just like, there's favorite videos throughout the year. Like, I don't really feel like I need to do a big end of the year favorites, but I mean, it kind of hit me. This is supposed to be like the best out of the entire year. Like, there's products you love at different points throughout the year, but this is supposed to be like the best of the best. So I decided to go ahead and do one. I just thought it'd be kind of fun. But I am going to go ahead and jump in because I have a feeling that mine's going to be really long, just like all of the other favorite videos I've watched for this. So I did try to pick a high-end option and a more affordable option. I wouldn't say drugstore because some of them aren't drugstore, but they are affordable. So I'm going to go ahead and start with face primers right away. I'm going to start with my affordable option. My affordable option is the NYX Angel Veil Primer. I feel like I'd never see anybody talk about this, or if I do, it's pretty rarely, but this is just my favorite, like, holy grail primer. I have pretty oily skin. I get really oily on my forehead, my nose, my chin, especially my cheeks though. My cheeks are super, super oily. There's places like this part of my face that doesn't really get oily. It's not dry though either, it's just normal. So anyways, this just, even with my super oily skin, it holds up so well. It mattifies, it smooths out my pores, lines, everything. It just gives you like a nice veil to just put your makeup on top of and just get a perfected look. So I have to say this is a favorite. It does, I feel like, too, kind of hold up the longevity of my foundation or face makeup too. But one con would be that when I do put this on and I try to buff foundation on over top, it can be a little more difficult than the next primer I'm going to talk about. It doesn't glide on quite as smoothly. It does kind of grab a little bit, but I mean, just a little extra blending and you're pretty much good to go. Or even if you use a makeup sponge, that does work a little bit better than even a brush on top of this. So this is my favorite primer. I'm actually almost out, so I need to repurchase this, but it's a fantastic primer. It's not the cheapest drugstore primer. I think it's like $15 or $16 at Ulta, but I mean, when most high-end primers are $30, $40, sometimes even $50, I just feel like that's really not that bad. For my high-end primer, it is the Smashbox Photofinsh Primer Water. So this I don't think I talked about in a lot of empties videos, but I did talk about it in one or two, I know for sure. And this is kind of more of a later year favorite, but I did enjoy it earlier on in the year. I just didn't use it as much like during the summertime, springtime, that kind of thing. But this primer, it just, you can use it as a primer, obviously, a setting spray. You can use it to wet your brushes to intensify eyeshadows. You can use it for multiple things, just quick like refresh throughout the day. But I really do just use mine mostly as a primer. I do sometimes using it as like a setting spray or a finishing spray. And then I will also kind of use it for eyeshadows, but it's mostly for me a primer. And I'm kind of surprised that I like it because, like I said, I have really oily skin. And this is a pretty moisturizing primer. But it actually, I think, kind of helps. It's kind of one of those things where they're like, oh, if your skin's super oily, you should super moisturize it because it's your, you know, body producing more oils thinking it's too dry. So maybe that's kind of why this works so well for me, but I love it. I like the smell of it. I know some people have said they don't like the smell of it. I think it smells kind of just like spa, kind of like. It's kind of like a nice relaxing kind of slightly citrusy scent. But I just feel like my foundation just glides on top of this so nicely. I don't think my foundation has ever went on so smooth besides with this primer. It's fantastic. Plus, it's just so quick and easy. Just spritz, 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 let it dry for a second, and you're done. You're free to move on to the next step. So I love that. I cannot wait to purchase more of them because I feel like I've been kind of slowing down on using it because I don't want to use it up too fast. But I love that primer. For foundations, I actually don't have my low-end one, so I'm just going to talk about it. But it's the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. This one, it's just got so many mixed reviews. I feel like people either really love it or people really hate it. And I am one of the people that really love it. The reason that I like it is it's super lightweight. It's not full coverage. I would definitely say it's like medium coverage because my freckles will kind of poke through, which isn't a huge deal. But if I know I'm like having like a really bad skin week, I won't wear it because it's just kind of medium coverage, and I will definitely need like more coverage than that. But I love the fact that it's actually fair enough for my skin, and it does actually keep me matte and poreless. It's probably one of my favorite foundations for the summertime Wintertime, it's not bad, but I just feel like it's one of those things that works a little bit better for me when my skin is being a little bit more oily. Being wintertime, it is a little on the drier, less oily side, so it's not perfect for me in the wintertime, but it's fabulous during the summertime or any other time of the year really for me. I feel like if you have any dryness at all though, it is going to accentuate it. So I probably wouldn't recommend it if you have any dryness in your skin at all. I don't know how the other Fit Me foundation compares. I know that's supposed to be like the dewy and smooth one, I think, but I've always just used the matte Poreless because super oily skin. So that is my affordable favorite one. My more high-end one is the Too Faced Born This Way. I'm kind of laughing because, I mean, the foundation I have on today is a little bit too light, but this just looks so dark next to it. Just so dark. But this is in the shade Ivory. This is kind of more of a summer foundation for me, just this color. I am going to get it in the Snow or Pearl, I think is the two new fair colors they released. And I'm going to pick it up in one of those. So this one I'm kind of panning because it is a little too dark for me. Even in the summertime, it is a little too dark for me, but I can make it work if I really blend it out. But the reason I love this is the coverage is so full coverage without being cakey or thick or just any of the bad things about full coverage foundations. Like, it's so lightweight and just looks like your skin, but better. And in the best way possible. Because like I said, it's full coverage, but like your skin, but better. It's amazing. I cannot talk about enough how much I love this foundation. I've kind of forget that we have it at work, so I do need to get better about like recommending it, because when people want full coverage, I usually just go right for the Tarte Amazonian Clay, because that's usually what people are like, oh yeah, it's like mousse, so it like a little goes a long way, but it really covers. I'm getting off topic, but this is a fantastic foundation. Like I said, I need to start recommending this more because it's just wonderful. Everything about it is wonderful. I haven't found a single con to it yet besides the shade range, which they've already worked on expanding it, so I mean, there's no negatives. Next are concealers. Concealers, I don't have a low end because I just feel like I haven't found one that I really love. I do like the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind, but I mostly like it just because it's a really quick, easy concealer. It's really not what I want from a concealer though. So this is my favorite high-end one. It is the Urban Decay Naked Skin. You can see mine is almost gone. I think this will probably be like the second or third one of these I went through. I feel like everybody's talking about it and I hate to like be the same person to talk about it, but it is that good. It is really, really good. It's very lightweight, which it does say weightless complete coverage concealer. That is probably the best possible name for it because it is weightless. It does completely cover. It's so full coverage and it's actually light enough for my skin. So when I wear this, it actually does offer a little bit of brightening, which is kind of why I don't usually like drugstore concealers as much because they're usually the same color as my skin or darker. It's just kind of hard to get that brightening effect from them. So that is one of the reasons that this is my favorite as well. But this is just all around good concealer. It is really pricey, which I would say is kind of the con because I want to say it's like $28 for that. And I'm just like, as fast as I go through it, it's just a little too much. Next are powders. I was going to do powder foundations, but I don't have a low-end powder foundation. I just have a high-end, and it's the IT Cosmetics I almost said Your Skin, but better. I'm thinking of the CC cream. This is the Celebration Foundation Illumination. It's just so beautiful. This foundation, a lot of liquids and stuff will be like, oh, it's a liquid to powder, but this is almost like a powder to like cream or liquid. It's just so beautiful. There are videos where I have this on in the past and I just look at it and I'm like, wow, my skin is just glowing. It just looks naturally beautiful. And that's why I like this, is because it is just got this beautiful dewiness to it, which you're not going to be able to tell by the swatch, but like you can see how pigmented it is. It's very full coverage. It's actually light enough again for my skin. They only have like 5 shades, which kind of hit or miss. You know, it works for most people, I feel like, but this is just fantastic. It's, like I said, full coverage. It makes you glowy and just wonderful. So that is my favorite powder foundation. For setting powders, I don't have a high end, but I have a low end. So it is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I always get mine in translucent because being this fair, usually if I get a powder in the like fairish shade, if it's not translucent, it usually oxidizes and turns a little orange on me. So I decided to get translucent in this, and I'm kind of glad I did because it's like having a white setting powder, but it's not white. Because a lot of white powders, even on me, give me like a white cast in pictures and stuff, which is just not flattering or cute. And it's really annoying. Or the other end, like I said, is it oxidizes on me and it's orange. So this is nice because it's a translucent powder and it's got a tiny bit of like a skin tone to it. I don't know how much that's going to pick up on camera, but it's got like a tiny little bit of like a skin tone to it, so it's not like a white powder and it's not going to leave that white cast. Plus this just makes, I feel like, everything look so much more airbrushed. So I really have enjoyed this powder. I think that's like the third or fourth one of those I went through. I have kind of no desire to try any other setting powders because I like that one so much, but I do kind of want something more brightening for my under eyes, even though that is pretty good. So there's that. Now I'm going to go on to, we'll do blush and then we'll talk about bronzer and then highlighters. So for blush, my low end favorite this year was the NYX Baked Blushes. These are just so good, and I, again, don't feel like anybody really talks about them. This is in the color Ladylike. This is probably the one I've used the most. Like, it used to be domed and now it's like almost completely flat. But this one is just a really pretty pink with like gold shimmer in it. They actually, because they're baked, can you even see that? Kind of. Because they're baked though, they have this really pretty sheen to them, so especially if I'm feeling really lazy or I'm in a really big rush, I can just pop this on and skip highlighter because it usually has enough of a sheen to it that it has a little bit of a highlighter in it already. I don't know, it's just really, really pretty. They have a ton of great colors. I feel like the pigmentation isn't amazing with them, but for me that's okay because I tend to over apply my blush anyways, so it kind of makes me chill out a little bit and not go so overboard. The other color that I want to talk about quick with this is Chiffon. This is kind of like Benefit's Rockateur, but this is more pigmented and I think it's a little bit darker. And same thing, it's got a sheen to it, so you don't really need highlighter or anything. It's beautiful. This one I do over apply when I apply it, but it's stunning. So pretty, and it's probably the one color I would recommend for a lot of people. If you were to try them out, that would be the color I'd get. For high-end blushes, this has been in my favorites, I think, 2 or 3 times. It is the Tartelette blush in Celebrated. The Tarte blushes, if you ever swatch them in store, they swatch horribly, but once you put them on, they are quite pigmented. I have this one actually on today. I love it. It's really, really pretty. It's just, I don't know, they're not super creamy. They're not super powdery though either. There's a swatch of it there. Actually, I'm going to do a different finger because I had chiffon on that finger. So that is what Celebrated looks like. But this one, the reason it's my favorite is the formula, like I said, is just kind of a little weird because it doesn't swatch very well most of the time. And it's not super creamy, but it's not super powdery. It's just somewhere kind of in between. But this particular color just, especially during the summertime, it just makes me look like I'm glowing. Right now when I have this foundation on and stuff, I feel like it probably doesn't make me look too glowy and beautiful, but most of the time it really does, and it's just one of those blushes that I can pair with any makeup look and it just looks fantastic with it. So that is my favorite high-end blush for the year. Onto highlighters. My affordable option is the Colourpop one. I know this is kind of more of a recent favorite, but I haven't found any low-end highlighters that I really like. I've kind of played with quite a few at work and stuff, and there hasn't really been anything that's like wowed me or that's gonna work with my skin, I feel like. So this is Lunch Money. It is just so pretty. Like, I think this is my favorite highlighter probably of all time, even more than the high-end one that I have in here. But they're so creamy, and I, again, with oily skin, was kind of against getting a cream highlighter, but this blends into the skin so nicely. It makes the glow that you have from this just seem so natural, and it doesn't accentuate pores, which is another huge issue for me. It's really, really pretty. I can't wait to get some more colors of these. I'm kind of glad because I feel like I've noticed them be talked about a little bit more lately, and I'm just like, yes, like because you know how if a company puts out a product and it doesn't sell very well, they tend to, like, you know, discontinue it. And I'm like, let's, you know, really talk about the Colourpop highlighters, because that is the only highlighter I think I found that I just really, really love. and I don't want them to discontinue them ever. For my high-end one, I have the Becca Jekyll & Hill Shimmering Skin Perfector Pressed in Champagne Pop. This is really, really pretty. However, the only reason I say that the Colourpop one is a little bit more my absolute favorite is because if I over apply this, this does accentuate my pores. Oh, I just lost my little card cover. But this is really, really pretty. Even on my fair skin, I feel like it does work, but it has to be super blended out, which is kind of the thing. It does work for me a little bit better in the summertime when it's more bronzy and that kind of thing. Winter time, like right now, I feel like this would probably look a little ridiculous, but I haven't really tried it. But it's so creamy and so pigmented. Like I just tap my brush in there and that is almost enough to do both cheeks. It's really, really pretty. I kind of want to try some more Becca highlighters because that's the only Becca highlighter I have. And I've played with them plenty at work, but I think I'm going to wait for the pearl color to come out because that sounds like something that would work really well for my skin type. I've heard a lot of people say that that one just works really well with really fair skin. So there is my high-end one. For my bronzers, I don't have a low end just because I don't know why, but I kind of tend to stay away from drugstore bronzers because they're either too orange, too dark, multitude of things. But I was really into my Too Faced Endless Summer bronzer last year, last year, it's 2016. And I obviously panned it and used it up, so I have the Cocoa Contour palette here. These are basically the same. They're just more matte versions because the Endless Summer does have a little bit of shimmer in them. But the Too Faced bronzers are just always my favorite. There's nothing I love more than them. I do really like the Tarte Park Avenue Princess one, but I've kind of come to find that I actually like the Too Faced one better. I just feel like they blend out better, and I like the color selection better. So the Too Faced bronzers are my favorite. Now I will do eye products, then we'll do lip products. I'm afraid I'm going to miss something here, but I haven't skipped anything yet. Actually, I lied. We're going to do brows first. So brows, I have a high end and I have a low end, but they're kind of two very different products. The high end, of course, is the Anastasia Dipbrow. I use this all the time. It's fantastic. I feel like everybody was talking about this, especially kind of like towards the beginning of the year. I feel like I was seeing a lot about this, and then everybody kind of goes back to their brow wiz. But I really love this. The only thing is it can come off a little severe and a little harsh, so definitely be careful how much product you use and kind of how you're applying it, because you can get really dramatic brows with this, which is, if that's what you want, that is fantastic. But if you don't, then that's kind of why I'm like, be a little bit more careful with what you're applying it with, how you're applying it, that kind of thing. But this is waterproof, smudge proof. I've worn mine for 48 hours straight once. It was Black Thursday and Black Friday. That's why it was on that long. But I have worn mine for 48 hours before, and it has been there. It's slightly faded, but I mean, it's 48 hours. Like, it's a long time. So that is fantastic. I love that. For my low end favorite, it is the NYX Microbrow pencil. This is like the Anastasia Brow Wiz. Some people will say no, it's not, and most people will say it is. I don't know. It's just like some people really don't like this, and again, some people really love it. I think it's the same. I mean, of course, I try to sell the Anastasia one at work because, like, that's what I'm supposed to do. But if somebody's looking for something cheaper, or I can already tell that they're kind of not wanting to go to the prestige side of the store, this is the other one I would recommend, is the NYX Microbrow, because I just feel like this works so well. And I think mine is out because it's not turning up anymore. Oh, that's kind of sad. But it has a nice spoolie on the other end too, just like the Anastasia one. I have heard some people complain that they don't like the spoolie as much. I don't think it's a huge deal. I just use it to quickly brush out my brow hairs, and that's really it. So I don't think it's a big deal. It's what I have on today with the Benefit Give Me Brow, just because I didn't feel like doing my makeup today. Hence why there's not a whole lot going on. But this is really, really fantastic. Now, onto eye products and then lip products. So, eyeshadow primers, I really only had one favorite. I don't have it with me at the moment, but it's the Urban Decay primer potion. I just like the thicker, creamier consistency of it. I'm trying to think. I want to say I was using the Lorac primer at the beginning of the year, and that was certainly okay. Right now I'm using the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, and it's okay, but I just find that out of everything, I really prefer the consistency in the formula of the Urban Decay one. So I don't like their packaging. I wish they'd go back to the old packaging where it was the squeezy tube and not the doe foot applicator, because nobody likes the doe foot applicator as far as I can tell. But that was my favorite primer potion. I don't have a low end, except for maybe the Maybelline Color Tattoos, but those are kind of cream shadows in a way too, but I do use them as eyeshadow bases. Onto eyeliners though. I don't have a favorite low end just because I didn't really try any out this year besides the Ulta one. And the Ulta one, like I said, it's not bad. It certainly is fine, but it's just not really a favorite. So I have a high-end favorite. These are the Mally Evercolor Starlight waterproof liners. The waterproof claim is slightly, it's kind of controversial. But the two colors I have here is Plum Sapphire, which is this really pretty dark purple color. And the other one is Hunter. These they're so creamy and they just glide on so nicely. They have beautiful colors. This is probably the liner that I think for me lasts the longest in my waterline. It lasts even a little bit longer than my Urban Decay, which my Urban Decay are a favorite too, but I just mostly use them on the upper lash line. I mostly like them for the color selection, whereas these I really like the way they wear. The colors that they have again are great. Super, super creamy, whereas some of my Urban Decay ones do feel a little bit drier, but those Mally ones are fantastic. Mascaras, I don't have my favorite mascara. I don't have a low end because there just wasn't really any low end mascaras that impressed me this year. My favorite high end mascara was the Too Faced Better Than Sex. I feel like that's a lot of people's favorites, but I just love the hourglass shaped wand. It's so perfect for lifting, adding length, adding volume. Just everything about it is so fantastic. However, I have heard that people have said they buy the little travel size or sample size and then they get the full size and it's not as good. I've only had the sample size and I have to say it's fantastic. I kind of just want to buy the sample size kind of knowing that, and plus mascara, I mean, I usually have a lot of samples of it and I'm usually wearing more than one at a time, so I feel like I would probably benefit more from the sample size. But that is my favorite mascara that I've tried this year, the one that's impressed me the most, the one that I didn't want to get rid of when it was time to get rid of it. It's just my favorite. So that was that. Onto eyeshadows. My affordable favorite is Colourpop again. I'm sorry, no, this is online only kind of thing, and some people are debatable whether this is really drugstore, which is why I said affordable. This color is in Mixtape. It's not the prettiest color I own, and there's tons of Colourpop videos out there, so I'm sure everybody knows what Colourpop is, but it's just so creamy and wonderful. Again, like the highlighters, they're just really, really pretty. They have a ton of unique colors, and the thing that I like about Colourpop is it does say on their website that the whole kind of thing behind their site is that they're trying to offer the trendy stuff that you may not want to splurge on, and kind of offer it at a more affordable price. So I do kind of like that, because I'm like, that is really true. Like, who wants to buy, like, let's say bright purple lipstick is in, who wants to go out and buy like a $50 bright purple lipstick and then have the trend be over by next year and you never wear it? So they do have a point, like, in being very affordable and that kind of thing. But the shadows are just so creamy, so blendable, and I love them a lot. They have been definitely an affordable favorite this year. For high-end favorites, I have two because I couldn't decide. It wouldn't be a favorites video if I didn't mention Urban Decay shadows, because they're just so buttery. Just so smooth and buttery. This color here is X. Yes, X. This one I really, really love because it's like a peach with like a gold shimmer or shift to it. I don't know how to explain it. I guess, yeah, it's like a peach with like a gold shimmer. But that one I love to just throw over my lid during the summertime and just wear that with mascara, because it's just really nice and quick and easy, and it's just one of those colors that when it catches the light, it's beautiful. Plus with the kind of the peachy tones, it does kind of help enhance like any kind of tan or bronzer that you have on. So again, they're just fantastic because they're creamy, they're blendable, pigmentation, like everything about Urban Decay is fantastic. I think we all know that. The other one I want to mention, and the only reason I didn't do this one by itself is because I feel like I haven't had it long enough, really. I think I've had it for quite a while, but still. It's the Kat Von D Metal Crush Eyeshadow in Thunderstruck. This could easily be a favorite highlighter too, because that's the other thing I like to use it for. If you pair this with Chiffon, the Baked Blush from NYX, it's beautiful. But it's basically like a white with like a gold peachy duochrome. So when I pair it with Chiffon, I notice it kind of takes on more of the peachy, goldy kind of duochrome, and then there's other times where it almost has like the white, like gold duochrome. So I guess it kind of like depends on what you're pairing it with, but there it is there. Again, creamy, super pigmented, blendable, amazing. I use this on my inner corner a lot just because it's pretty light, so it actually is pretty highlighting for me. Plus it catches the light really nicely and it's just really, really pretty. So those are the eyeshadow favorites. I'm trying to think if there's anything else for eyes. Palettes. So palettes was really, really hard for me to decide what to choose. But again, I tried to choose a more affordable option and then a higher end. My affordable option I feel like is kind of controversial. Some people love this brand, some people hate it, but it is the Morphe Brushes Jaclyn Hill palette. Got this in January or February. I don't even remember when mine came, but I was really surprised. The quality of the shadows in here are really, really good. Tati Glam Life Guru has done an excellent review on the Morphe, basically the whole Morphe line, like their brushes, blush palettes, eyeshadows, everything. One thing she does say in that video that I totally agree with is it kind of sucks that the shadow quality is really inconsistent. You could touch one of the kind of more metallic, kind of super shimmery colors and it's buttery and creamy and amazing, and then you could touch the next one and it's just not quite as good. It's still slightly buttery, still slightly creamy, and it's still definitely easy to work with, but it's like the shadow consistency isn't quite consistent. However, I still love this palette though anyways. I love the colors in here. I could literally probably only use this palette for a whole year and never get sick of it or bored of it just because I love the colors in here, which I should show you. Mine does have a broke shadow. I was gonna email Morphe about it at the time, and then I was like, they're not gonna give me one. They don't really care that my shadow's broke. So you can kind of tell this one right here, this pretty bronze color is broke, but I mean, overall, like this is just really, really pretty. Lots of really warm colors. There's some more fun like colors in here. It's bright orange, but yeah, even though the shadow quality isn't super consistent, they're all easy to use and very workable. Some just require a little more work than others, and I still just think that out of the affordable palettes that I bought this year, this is definitely my favorite. Plus, I'm not a huge fan, I think, of the packaging. I think the packaging is a little cheapy, but that is neither here nor there. For high-end, I was going to go with the Urban Decay Naked palettes because they're just always my favorites. They're my classics. But I was like, you know, out of the palettes that I've kind of used this year and stuff, I feel like some of them, the Naked palettes, I mean, some of them, the shadows just aren't that good, and I just kind of wasn't in love with them this year. And I was like, so kind of thinking like, what palettes have I just been like, wow, and impressed with almost every shadow? And it's definitely been my Anastasia ones. This is the Shadow Couture Bold Traveler, and this is the Self-Made. I don't know why I keep my Self-Made in the box. I really like the box. But again, the shadow quality with these is so fantastic. The layouts of the palette is fantastic, just everything about it. This palette, like, I look at it and so much inspiration. I don't feel like overwhelmed or unsure of what to do with this palette. I just instantly know what I want to do, or I have like too many looks that I want to do. But again, just really great shadow quality. The palette layout is nice, and their prices for these are right on point. I think they're usually like $35, and I mean, most of the time Naked palettes, you know, $54. I think the Too Faced Bon Bon palette and like Chocolate Bar and stuff, that's like $49. So I just feel like this is a really good value for what you're getting. Plus they do sell the single shadows too, so you could always get those if there's something that you really like. And although I do think some of the colors that come in the palettes are exclusive, but not all of them. So these were definitely my high-end favorites for eyeshadow palettes. On to lip products. So lip products, I chose 3 high-end and 3 low-end. They're kind of all over the place. Like there are some liquids, there are some traditional lipsticks, some matte, some creamy, some whatever. So I'm going to start with the high-end and then we'll go into the affordable ones. For high-end, I almost feel like I shouldn't include these in high-end because they're really not that expensive. I think they're like $14 or $16, but they are the Lorac Alter Ego lipsticks. These are fantastic. They are the most wonderful matte lipsticks I think I've probably, I don't want to say I've ever used because the Maybelline ones are really close, but these are right up there with them. And they smell like vanilla, like cupcakes. Like they're not just vanilla, like they have an extra sweetness to them, like cupcakes or cake or frosting or something. But this one is Goddess, which is stunning. It's the most beautiful like purple color ever. The other ones I have are Sex Kitten and CEO. Sex Kitten is a beautiful pink color for the summertime. I do like to put a gloss on top of Kitten because I think Kitten is maybe not quite as good. It's a little patchier and it's a little drier. So I don't know if mine was just a bad one or what, but I mean, I do like to put a gloss over top of that one. And then CEO is just buttery goodness. It's so wonderful. The color is fantastic. It's like right on trend with the whole brown lipsticks and stuff. It's just wonderful. Just take my word for it. The next two, the first one is, they're both from Sephora, which is what I was going to say. They're Bite Beauty lipsticks. So I bought this one in Rose or Rosé, and I just kind of didn't really get the hype. I was like, wow, it's a nice formula, but like, whatever, kind of. Like, it's a nice formula, but I don't know if it's just really that special that everybody was like, I don't know. Everybody was hyping them up so much, I just didn't get it. However, I bought 2 of these duos, and I just find that when I want a good, comfortable lipstick, this is what I tend to reach for. Like, it just, for some reason, I'm always gravitating towards these lipsticks. So this one here is Rose or Rosé. And like I said, I have this little duo here, which I wanted to get more of these around the holiday, but they're already taken off the Sephora website because I kind of forgot about it. This one is in Date, and then the other end is in Fig. But like I said, just anytime I want a really good, comfortable lipstick, or I kind of don't know what to use, these are what I always reach for. So Date is the more brown one, and Fig is the more kind of pinky reddish one. But it's, again, really, really good. I'm going to roll up my sleeve so we have more swatch room. Next are the Kat Von D liquid lipsticks. These are my favorite liquid lipsticks. I have found nothing that I like as much formula-wise as these besides maybe the NYX Soft Matte Lip Creams. And even then, they just don't hold up like longevity-wise the same way these do. I don't know. These just so good. So pigmented. They glide on. The way that the applicator is like super easy for me to get really precise with. I don't know. I just love everything about these. This one is Lolita, which everybody knows and talks about. This is the only one that I'm not super in love with, and that's just because color-wise it does look a little brown on me. I wish it looked the way it does on Jaclyn Hill because it looks fantastic. It looks kind of like a red-brown color. This next one is Mother, which is a really pretty pink color. And the last one I'm going to swatch is Aisha, which is this really fun purple color. That's the other thing that's nice is they have super wearable colors and then they have super fun ones. Like I know I have Echo, which is a dark navy blue. So they have everything from like more wearable colors to more fun stuff. So Lolita, Mother, and then Aisha. And once they're set, they are set. They don't budge. The only time that they do come off for me is if I'm eating anything that's a little bit oily, but I mean, that's kind of, I feel like that's kind of normal. But otherwise, they do not budge. They do not come off. My boyfriend always laughs because when I wear them and then I kiss him, like, he's used to the lipstick transferring, and he's like, okay, like, do I have purple on my face? And I'm like, no, you don't, because the Kat Von D ones, they don't transfer. So that's always kind of nice. But now onto the low-end ones, or the affordable, why did I say low-end? The affordable ones. I kind of had to mention these, even though I don't feel like I reach for these a lot, but a lot of that is because packaging-wise, it's the NYX High Voltage lipsticks. These came out this year, beginning of the year, or like springtime or something. They're wonderful. They're super, super pigmented. The longevity of them isn't the greatest, but they're so creamy and so pigmented that I kind of don't mind that. And again, the packaging is just kind of cheapy and not that good. The caps don't stay on very well. I have a couple caps that have cracked for whatever reason. So the packaging is not, it's not there. It's not fantastic, but the product inside is wonderful. So the colors I have, the one I'm swatching right now, which is a dark red, kind of a purpley red color. This is Wine and Dine. The kind of more brown one is Flutter Kiss, and then the more peachy one is Sweet 16. So Sweet 16, Flutter Kiss, and then Wine and Dine. But they have really pretty, like, kind of sheen to them. They're kind of moisturizing too, which is nice. So I really like those. The next kind of affordable option is the Maybelline matte lipsticks. These are so good. Like I said, they're right up there with the Lorac Alter Ego ones. The only reason I would choose the Lorac over them is because the smell of these ones, they do kind of smell, I don't know, someone said Play-Doh. I don't know if they smell like Play-Doh to me, but they do have a weird smell. Like I said, the Lorac ones, they smell like cupcakes, frosting, something super sweet. But they're both super creamy, super pigmented. They both last a very long time. And they do both have some pretty nice colors in the shade range. So the ones I'm swatching are Touch of Spice, Craving Coral, and then Ravishing Rose. These are definitely, I'd say, my 3 favorites out of the line. Craving Coral is, again, kind of patchy, not the greatest, but the color is beautiful. So it starts with Touch of Spice, Craving Coral, and Ravishing Rose. They are just, again, wonderful. The last affordable lip option are the Colourpop Lippy Sticks. I don't really care for the ultra matte lips. Like, they're okay, but they're really hit or miss with me, I guess. Whereas these are pretty much all favorites. I've only gotten a couple colors where I didn't love them, but formula-wise, I feel like they're pretty consistent and pretty good for the most part. So the ones I have to swatch are Brink, which is my all-time favorite. Like, this is the one color that I'm like, yes, everybody needs this one. I have Fighter, which is a pretty red color. I actually don't think they carry Fighter anymore, which makes me sad because it's such a pretty red. And then I have Tootsie here too, because Tootsie's kind of another kind of raved about color. It's another kind of more trendy color too. Oh, this is getting hard. So the top one there is Brink, then Fighter, and then Tootsie. So you can see Tootsie's kind of a gray, cool toned color. Fighter's a pretty red, and then Brink is like this really pretty warm, kind of, it's almost like a coral with brown in it. Like, it's got like a little bit of orange in it. I don't know how to explain this really, but that is Brink. So now that my arm looks like this, we are done with the favorites. I'm kind of excited to see what 2016 brings, because I know there's already been some really exciting launches, like the Tarte lip paints. The drugstore's coming out with a ton of stuff, like NYX launched their cream contour palettes, that kind of thing. So I'm really excited to see what 2016 has for makeup. I just feel like it's going to be a good year for makeup again. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know some of your guys' favorites down below, just because I'm always looking for some new stuff to try and get. I of course love things I can get at Ulta because I can get a discount, but I mean, if it's elsewhere too, I usually try to at least check it out. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!